everyone, it's Jen Melody. I am back finally with my season 5 of Supernatural episode tier list. Okay, sorry this took so long. I'm not a good binger. I do not binge shows, so usually I take a little longer to watch a show, and I don't like to be rushed. I like to enjoy the show at my own pace, so I'm sorry if this isn't going as fast as you'd like. But I finished season 5. It was a great season. I loved it almost pretty much just as much as season 4. Especially since we got more Castiel. So yeah, let's just get into it. First, let's name our tier lists. Okay, so usually I name this, I think, Screaming and Crying. This is gonna be I'm on the Edge of My Seat. This is a solid episode. This is I'm Bored. And this is Trash Garbage as usual, which it might be like a season 4 situation this time around where nothing ends up in trash garbage, because I really can't remember an episode that I truly disliked like that. So let's figure it out. As usual, I'm going to be reading summaries for anyone that's popped in and never watched Supernatural but wants to watch this video anyway, so they know what I'm talking about a little bit. Or the people that haven't watched Supernatural in a very long time and don't remember what these episodes are about. Alrighty, so starting with episode 1, Sympathy for the Devil. Okay, picking up where the finale left off, Dean and Sam watch as the devil emerges from hell. The brothers and Bobby deal with the aftermath of Lucifer rising and the stunning news from Chuck the Prophet that Castiel was blown to bits by the archangels. Okay, so Sympathy for the Devil for me isn't on the same level as Lazarus Rising, where I think that was probably the most perfect opener that you could ever make, and is honestly one of the best episodes they've ever done for Supernatural, ever filmed. But it's still very good, specifically with Nick's part of this story, who is the vessel of Lucifer. Right now, at least. And, just the whole backstory of Nick, where, he has a wife and child that died, and because of his grief, he's more easily manipulated by Lucifer, and he says yes. That was all, acted really, really well. But the rest of the episode, I felt was more, set up, where, they set up that, the mystery of why Dean and Sam ended up on the plane, and Castiel coming back to life, and who resurrected Castiel. Castiel thinks it's God. But, I forget if it's the last episode of season 4, or if it's the first episode of season 5 where Bobby, gets hurt and becomes disabled. I think it's this episode. But yeah, that whole conflict, I think, starts in this first episode. So yeah, just a lot of setup. Zachariah is also kind of shown to be more of a threatening character. He was always threatening, but here it's oh, okay, he is not playing around anymore. So yeah, overall, it made me interested, so I'm gonna put it on I'm on the Edge of My Seat. But I don't think you can beat Lazarus Rising and Castiel's introduction, because that was amazing. Alright, so now on to episode 2, which is Good God, Y'all. Which is my favorite title. Alright. Castiel tells Sam and Dean that he is going to search for God, who will be able to defeat Lucifer. Bobby's old hunter friend Rufus is panicked about demons attacking his town and begs Bobby for help. Sam and Dean arrive at the town and realize there is a spell over the townspeople, making them hallucinate that they are demons and causing them to kill one another. Okay, so what I love about number one, I love the twist where it turns out that none of them are demons, and it's actually we introduced the horsemen in this episode, and it was actually the horsemen of war making them turn on each other this whole time, making them hallucinate. I thought that was really cool. I love the start of Castiel and his journey with trying to find God. That is interesting. Ellen and Joe are back, and I've really missed Ellen and Joe. It's too bad that they've been gone for so long and that they only come back for like 2 episodes in this season, but whatever. That's just Supernatural being sexist as usual. But yeah, overall it was a really good episode. And definitely the question is it a solid episode, or is it I'm on the edge of my seat? I think because of the twist, it goes I'm on the edge of my seat. I think it's more of a well-rounded episode, so it's gonna go above Sympathy for the Devil for me. I really do like Good God, y'all. And also, I love it for starting like the dynamic between Castiel and Dean, where like Castiel's very oblivious of a lot of things because he has never been human, and Dean is always like so exasperated by him. So yeah. Okay, so that's Good God, y'all. Episode 3 is next, and it's called Free to Be You and Me. Alright. Not sure he trusts himself anymore. Sam decides to give up hunting, but a late-night visitor won't let him off the hook that easily. Dean, intent on stopping the apocalypse, continues hunting on his own and teams up with Castiel to find the Archangel Raphael, as Castiel believes Raphael knows God's location. So yeah, what I forgot to mention about in Good God, y'all, is that Dean and Sam kind of break up because Dean, which is fair of Dean doesn't feel like he can trust Sam, and he's kind of tired of looking after him all the time, which is fair, because Sam made some really dumb decisions last season. I do have a lot of sympathy for Sam because he was clearly like addicted and was predisposed to being addicted and was very much manipulated into his addiction. But also at the end of the day, that was his choice. And he chose not to trust his brother. He chose to trust a demon. So he deserves a little bit of consequence to his actions. And they break up for a little bit. And I do like seeing the journey of Sam getting over his addiction. This is the first episode where he finally says no to his demon blood addiction. There's that. That's kind of the B plot, though. The main plot is between Dean and Castiel, which I love. I really miss. See, if Dean and Castiel were like this the whole show, like they are in season 5, I would not mind. I'd probably ship them, but I don't. I ship Sastiel and Megstiel. Because Dean himself gets really toxic towards Castiel, and don't get me wrong, I like drama. I do like drama. There's even some drama in season 5 between the two, but I like in-character drama, and there's a lot of out-of-character drama that heavily on the side of Dean. So, but I love how this episode kind of starts that iconic relationship with Dean and Castiel. The whole strip club thing was really funny, where Castiel was like freaking out that he was even in one, and he started downing alcohol because he was like, oh my god. The scene with Raphael was really good. I love when Castiel gets sassy. So yeah, overall I really liked it, but it didn't have anything that like really was like, whoa, it stood out. I just think it was a very solid episode all around. Okay, moving on to episode 4, which is The End. Sam tells Dean he wants to rejoin Dean in the Battle of the Apocalypse, but Dean tells Sam that they are better off apart. Later, Dean awakens 5 years in the future in an abandoned city and is attacked by humans who have been infected with a demonic virus. that turns humans into zombies. Zachariah appears to Dean and explains that this is the world that exists as a result of Dean saying no to helping the angels fight Lucifer. Dean meets up with future Dean, who tells him that the virus is the devil's endgame for destroying mankind. And then Misha Collins also stars. Thank you, Wikipedia. Anyway, the end is going to be our first screaming and crying for the day. Because, oh my god, Jensen Ackles can act the heck out of anything. And it must have been so hard to play both Dean and future Dean talking to each other. Like, that must have been so exhausting to do. So, everyone clap for Jensen Ackles, a king as usual. Yeah, it was also just like... The future world is sad. It just made me cry. The way that, like, Dean was so, like, number one, future Dean must have gone through so much in order to get to the point where he is okay with sacrificing friends. That's crazy. But, number two, oh my god, his one, like, whenever they showcase how Dean finds Sam is, like, the most precious thing in his world, it breaks me. It breaks me truly. Like, this is the episode where Dean realizes that he can't ever abandon Sam like that. Even if Sam is going to be a danger to himself, he has to stop him from being a danger to himself. And Anyway, I also love Dean and Castiel. Once again, future Castiel is, like, almost completely human in this episode, in the future. And that has kind of made him, like, apathetic and, like, go with the flow, which really, like, weirds out Dean, because Dean kind of knows Castiel now to be, like, he really does care about what happens to the earth and humans, unlike any other angel he's met. So, when he comes back to the present and he says, "Don't ever change," it's meaningful. Anyway, that's the end. I think it's a great episode. It's very, very good. Episode 5 is called Fallen Idols. Okay. Sam and Dean decide to start hunting together again. And their first case leads them to a small town whose inhabitants are being killed by famous dead icons like Abraham Lincoln and James Dean's car. However, after 2 teenage girls came forward and claimed their friend was kidnapped by Paris Hilton, the brothers aren't sure what they are hunting anymore. Alright, I'm just gonna put this one right in I'm bored. Just because, like, the whole episode kind of hinges on the Paris Hilton joke. And I did not grow up with any Paris Hilton media. So, obviously, this isn't really gonna, like, click for me. And it felt really, really, really filler and boring, and it was not needed. This episode could have disappeared, and I feel like this was Eric Kripke being like, we still need a Monster of the Week somewhere in here. Like, so, yeah, it just felt meaningless. So it's going in I'm bored, and moving on, because I don't have that much to say about it. Episode 6 is called I Believe the Children Are Our Future. Sam and Dean investigate a series of odd murders that strangely resemble fairy tales and urban legends. The brothers track down an 11-year-old boy named Jesse and realize that whatever Jesse believes is coming true. Castiel tells Sam and Dean that Jesse is a serious threat and needs to be annihilated. Okay, so this episode is also kind of meaningless because this character, the Antichrist, Jesse, doesn't come back ever, and I know this. He just kind of disappears. It's like, well, that is a strangely, overpowered character to just let go and then never come back. And then you realize, because I have future knowledge, because the Supernatural fandom, obviously I was spoiled since it ended, that Jack is a character, and Jack is the son of Lucifer. So Jesse's kind of a nothing character to have around when you have Jack. So it kind of makes this episode not needed at all. Except to show off that Castiel is okay with killing children, which I understand. Castiel is at the beginning of his character arc here, so he's not completely human yet, or doesn't completely have, like, right now I think his mindset is, I will do anything to protect Earth and humans and the humans I care about, even if that means doing some heinous things, which is very angel of him. This, I know, gets ironed out later. Like, he gets a character arc where he learns to care about all people that live on Earth, not just Sam and Dean. And he definitely learns to care about children. Because later season Castiel is low-key a single father of Jack. So, anyway, moving on from that, I was just kind of like, whatever, to this episode. Okay. Episode 7 is called The Curious Case of Dean Winchester. Sam and Dean discover a witch is running a high-stakes poker game where the currency is life years versus money. Bobby sees the game as a chance to get out of the wheelchair and bets 25 years, but loses. As Bobby begins to age rapidly, Dean steps in to save him, but also ends up turning into an old man, leaving Sam holding the bag for their survival. Okay, so this episode, yeah, is it kind of funny to see Dean be an old man? Yeah, but, you know, the one part of this episode I really liked was, the talk that Bobby and Dean have at the end, where they finally, Dean finally kind of can empathize more with Bobby. Not just because he's, like, disabled now, but even before, how much he's done despite his age. How much he's done for them, and he's a little more grateful. And it, like, poor Bobby, he's gone through so much trauma, and now he's like, bro, I low-key feel like I want to kill myself. And Dean's like, no, we're here for you. So that part is really sweet. I like how Sam got to show off his smarts. Always love Sam. Always remember he went to college. But other than that, I don't think I was bored. It had enough to keep me, but it's just a solid episode, and it's going at the bottom. It's still kind of filler a little bit, other than the character development for Bobby and Dean. All right. Episode 8 is Changing Channels. The trickster throws Sam and Dean into an alternate universe where they are characters in different television series, including a sexy medical show, a Japanese game show, a forensic show, and a sitcom. The others realize the only way to get out of this world is to play along and become the characters in the shows. However, Castiel appears and warns them this universe is dangerous and they must get out before they become trapped. This episode is going up at the top of screaming and crying, but because I'm laughing so hard, it was so funny. And which one is better than the other? This might be controversial, but I'm putting it at the top. I'm sorry. The comedy was just so well written. This is a Gabriel episode. All the Gabriel episodes are peak. This is also the episode we realize that Gabriel is Gabriel and not just a trickster. Yeah. I knew about this episode before even watching Supernatural because I used to follow these cosplayers called Ghost Fish Prod, and they made a parody video of the sitcom portion of this episode with Percy Jackson characters. And that section alone is perfect. It's golden, but like all of the parodies are golden. Like I love the medicine commercial part with Sam. I loved Dr. Sexy, proof that Dean is bisexual, by the way, in my opinion. The Japanese game show was really funny. Just everything about this episode was amazing. And I love seeing Gabriel, finally the gears are starting to turn for him, where finally Dean calls him out and is like, you're not standing up to your family because you're scared. So Yeah. Love to see the start of Gabriel's character development. It's overall an amazing show. I have no critiques. Very good. Which is why it's at the top. Alright, episode 9 is The Real Ghostbusters. Okay. Superfan Becky uses Chuck's phone to trick Sam and Dean into attending a supernatural fan convention, complete with fans dressed up as Sam and Dean. One of the activities is a live-action role-playing game, but things quickly turn sour after a real ghost appears on the scene. This is clearly when the conventions were starting, so they were parroting that. I like this episode because it's not like mean in its jokes. It's pretty respectful. It just poking a little fun. Even like there was like a nice speech between the two like main fans in this episode, this explaining why they love Supernatural so much, that I think actually reflects real life, that I really like a lot. Chuck was so funny in this episode. Just him trying to be on stage and answer fan questions. That was really funny. Yeah, this was a filler episode that I did not mind. It was pretty good. The comedy was pretty good. The only thing I didn't really like was Becky. I don't like Becky as a character. She's the only thing where I'm like, I know she exists in real life and I hate it. Like, I know Becky's. If you're in fandom, you know a Becky. And they're weird. And they give a bad name. They give a bad name to the fandom. Becky is what most people think fandoms are, but they aren't, and it sucks. And I hate how she treats Sam, because Sam isn't a fictional character, he's a real life person, and it's gross. So yeah, because of that, I think it's only going to be in a solid episode for me. I do like it a little more than The Curious Case of Dean Winchester, though. So it'll go right in the middle there. Episode 10 is called Abandon All Hope. Sam, Dean, and Castiel track down the cult and head off to find Lucifer, to send him back to hell. It's a Hunters reunion when the crew joins forces with Bobby, Ellen, and Joe for what could be their last night on Earth. Bro. This episode needs to go to jail. Right to jail. Like, this episode made me cry buckets. Buckets. Number 1. Alright, Ellen and Joe. Let's get right into it and talk about Ellen and Joe. I'm so mad that they died. So mad. I think it sucks because Supernatural kills every woman character that they have ever. And it's not fair, but whatever. I guess that was the time. But the death that they had made me absolutely sob. Because Joe gets injured by, I think, hellhounds and can't go on, and she's like, abandon me, but she wants to give Sam and Dean time to get to Lucifer, and so she decides, in order to like get the hellhounds off their track, she's gonna explode the convenience store they're hiding in and herself. And Ellen's like, well, if she's dying, I'm going with her, like a true mother. It made me cry, and I was like, no! And it makes it worse that like before that happened, like they were like, I think at Bobby's house, and they were just all drinking and having fun together, and Castiel was showing off how he can just drink and not get drunk, and Ellen and Joe were kind of vibing with Castiel, and then they took a picture together like they were a family, and it's not fair! It's not fair! Like Castiel was making friends, it was great. Also though, Castiel gets kidnapped by Lucifer like midway through the episode. And talks to Meg for the first time. Boy, oh boy, do I love Castiel and Meg. I ship them a lot, okay? And I could feel the tension in the first scene. Love them. Another thing, Crowley is introduced in this episode for the first time. My king. Huge shout out to my second favorite character, because he's so funny and makes me giggle. Yeah. Crowley, right out the gate, steals the show. Love him. That's all I have to say. That was a lot to say. I love Abandon All Hope. It's a great episode. But I cried a lot. Okay, the next episode's called Sam Interrupted. Okay. A former hunter named Martin, who is currently institutionalized, calls Sam and Dean for help investigating a case in the mental hospital. The brothers get themselves admitted as patients to check out the mysterious monster that is attacking the patients. But their incarceration pushes both to the breaking point as they unleash their inner demons against each other. Man, okay. I found it really, when you think about it, right? They were diagnosed by, to get into the mental hospital with religious psychosis, and I was like, yeah, that would make sense to a normal person in this universe. That would be what they look like. Anyway, I like this episode because, like, genuinely throughout the episode, I didn't know what was real and what was not, because it was so trippy. It genuinely, like, I didn't know who the Wraith was. That's what they were hunting. Like, I couldn't figure it out for a second. Yeah, because they were in a mental hospital, you didn't know if Sam and Dean were, like, actually going crazy or if what they were seeing was real and all this. It was very good. But that's really all I have to say about it. It's just kind of a good filler episode, with a lot of mind tricks to it. So I think it can go in a solid episode. I did like it a little more. Oh, do I? Yes, I do. I like it more than The Curious Case of Dean Winchester. But I don't think I like it as much as The Real Ghostbusters. Okay. Episode 12 is called Swap Meet, which is a gross title. Ew. Okay. Gary, a teenage nerd, conjures up a body-switching spell and changes bodies with Sam. Thrilled by his new handsome and built body, Gary investigates a case with Dean and takes advantage of his good looks and age by hitting on women and getting drunk. Meanwhile, Sam is stuck in Gary's teenage body, dealing with intrusive parents and high school. I don't really like this episode that much, because of how it treats Dean. It really treats Dean like he's an idiot. And I feel, yeah, Dean can be an idiot, but, like, he's not that dumb. Where, like, Sam has completely changed behavior, and Dean does not make a single comment on it. Like, he makes some weird looks here and there, but he doesn't at any point for a really long time do anything about it, because he just thinks it's Sam. And it's like, really? He's all of a sudden eating meat, which Sam is a vegetarian. Yeah, he's all of a sudden eating meat. He's flirting with a lot of women, which he doesn't really like to do. He's crashing the Impala. Like, bro, put two and two together already. I'm not saying he needed to figure out right away that they swap bodies, but, like, maybe he was like, he could have been like, is he possessed by a demon or what? Like, what's going on? Like, Dean was not clicking for it, which was really weird, because he's usually, like, honed in on Sam. So, the jump of, like, the fact that he's a random teenager and somehow he assumes this girl that he likes really likes him because he does witchcraft is really weird and strange, and I didn't get it. The only part that I really liked about this episode was everything with Sam, because there was this one scene where, like, Sam is up in Gary's room, in Gary's body, and trying to figure things out, and the parents are like, Gary, come down for breakfast, and he's like, leave me alone. Just Jared Padalecki having good acting and comedic timing. So but I'm bored because I really was not vibing with the way this episode was treating Dean. I think, yeah, it goes at the bottom because I didn't really like a lot about it. There were aspects of, I believe, children are a feature that were interesting. Okay, moving on to episode 13, which is titled The Song Remains the Same. Okay. The angels send Anna back in time to kill John. To kill John and Mary Winchester before they can conceive Sam, knowing that if Sam was never born, then Lucifer won't be able to use him as his vessel. Castiel sends Sam and Dean back to 1978 so they can stop Anna, and the two brothers are reunited with their parents. Mary recognizes Dean as a hunter since he visited her in the past once before, but tries to keep the truth from John. Okay, I'm kind of sad because I liked Anna, and the fact that she went evil was like, aw, man. And then she died, because she's a woman in the supernatural universe, so she has to die. But yeah, I was kind of like, that's a bummer. But the rest of the episode is great. I love young Mary and John Winchester. It makes me so sad to know what John became, because young John is like, protect him at all costs. That scene between John and Sam where John is like, why would your dad put you through that? That's horrible. And Sam's like, well, he was just trying his best. Oh, young John, if only you knew. The scene between Dean and Mary is so heartbreaking, where Mary figures out that Dean is her son, and oh my god, man, it's so upsetting. I wish they could have been happy. The only critique I have about this episode is that, like, Castiel clearly, I forget why. Oh yeah, that's right. He can't time travel that well, I think, in this episode, because he's cut off from heaven and his powers aren't that strong. And Dean's like, do it anyway, because, Dean, the show likes us to believe that Dean and Castiel are like best friends, but Dean really just treats him like he's a tool. And so he's like, do it, and then Castiel does, and then like passes out, and Sam and Dean are like, just leave him in the hotel, he'll be fine. And then Michael sends them back without Castiel, and they're like, he'll make it back eventually. And then when he does, he passes out. And it's like, is anyone concerned? Can someone be concerned for this poor angel? Anyway, but this is where we get the title Team Free Will, which I appreciate. I love the Team Free Will team. So overall, it goes in screaming and crying because, ow! I miss when Mary and John Winchester were good parents. Anyway, I think, yeah, it goes at the bottom though. I think the end was more interesting for me. Okay. Episode 14, My Bloody Valentine. Alright, Castiel helps Sam and Dean hunt down Cupid on Valentine's Day after townspeople start to kill each other for love. However, after Cupid tells them he's innocent, they discover Famine, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, has arrived in town. More horsemen! Yay! This episode was pretty funny. I loved the bit where Castiel, because Jimmy loved hamburgers. That was like his vice. Because Famine's like making people lust over like things. Castiel keeps showing up in different scenes with like all these like White Castle hamburgers. It's really funny. And then it gets disturbing when he's like eating raw meat. That's how much of like Famine's affecting him. That was yikes. But yeah, it explained like Dean and the fact that he's like empty inside. That's always sad. I wish Dean was okay once in a while. Other than that, yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. Good episode. It's a solid episode, and it will go, I think, above these two. Actually, I liked it better than the real Ghostbusters 2, but I like Free to Be You and Me a little more. Okay. Sorry, my voice is starting to go. Episode 15. Sorry, I'm trying to find the summary. Okay, here it is. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is the title. Sam and Dean investigate Bobby's hometown, where the dead are rising from the grave, but instead of attacking humans, they are happily reuniting with their families. The brothers turn to Bobby for help, but he tells them not to worry about it and to leave town. Suspicious, Dean investigates and comes face to face with Bobby's dead wife, who has no memory of what happened to her. Once the zombies start turning evil, the boys tell Bobby he has to kill his wife, but he refuses. Okay, so this episode goes right up here because God, what the heck? Why would they do that to me? It goes all the way up here. Like, Bobby has the saddest backstory ever, where he had to shoot his own wife, and then he has to shoot his own wife again, and it's so sad because his wife didn't even want to turn evil. She was forced to turn evil again. It's so upsetting. Let Bobby be happy. That's my petition. And then what's her name? No, it's not Donna. It's Jody. Jody is introduced, who I love Jody because she's played by the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody mom. I love her. I love her to death. And she's so sweet, and she deserves her little boy. Her little boy started turning evil, and she had to shoot him in the head, and it's really sad. Poor Jody. Can't wait to see her again, though, because I know she's a recurring character. What else happened in this episode that was upsetting? There is one Bobby L where he points a gun at Dean and Sam, and it's like, dude, those are your adopted children. What are you doing? Okay, I understand it's your wife, but like, girl, what are you doing? Anyway, it was just overall like why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me, and why would you do that to Bobby? Anyway, moving on. The next episode's called Dark Side of the Moon. Ambushed by angry hunters, Sam and Dean are shot and killed and sent to heaven. Castiel warns Dean that Zachariah is looking for them in heaven, so they need to lay low while searching for an angel named Joshua, who can help them since he talks directly to God. While searching for Joshua, the brothers run into some old friends and family members. I like this episode a lot. It's really cool to see heaven. Like, this, I think this is the first time we see like a certain part of heaven, which is your way, like the pathway to heaven. I thought the concept of it being like changing depending on who you are. For Dean, it's a road. For some, it's a tunnel. That was really cool. I loved how it was like witnessing all of your best memories. I love that concept. I loved seeing the fireworks scene with Sam and Dean was really good and really made me want to cry. But the one downside with this episode is Dean kind of sucks in this episode, not gonna lie. That might be a hot take, but I'm sorry. The reason why all of Sam's best memories are away from home, right? Running away from home, is because John is a horrible father and was abusive, and everyone likes to point out how abusive he was towards Dean, which is absolutely true. But he was absolutely just as abusive towards Sam, and it shouldn't be on Sam to feel like he has to stay. Both Dean and Sam, when Sam left, were adults. Dean, at any point, once he became an adult, could have decided to leave with Sam, okay? And he didn't. He decided to stay in an abusive household. And he knew it was abusive because he mentions it later. But I understand that he's gone through a lot and his father was his hero. But it's not okay to put that on Sam and to make Sam feel guilty for wanting to live his life and to heal. It's ridiculous. The whole time he's like, wow, these were the worst moments of my life. It's like, okay, so what? Did you not want your brother to succeed? It's so weird because, like, in other parts of the show, he's like, yeah, I wanted Sam to move on and get a wife and live a life. But then there's other scenes where he's like, I need him to stay forever for me. And it's like, okay. So that really bothered me. But the other part I liked about this episode was Castiel on his I don't believe in God anymore face. Not like I don't believe in God as in he doesn't exist. I don't believe in God as in as a person. Which, you know, it's kind of heartbreaking because that is the one thing like Castiel like kept as an angel was his faith. But sadly, Joshua tells them like, God doesn't really give two flying F's about any of you. He did you one favor, keeping you alive, and now he wants to be left alone. And Castiel this whole time was believed that, all these bad things that are happening is because of the angels that have taken God's place. It's not God, and God must be an amazing person. He just is missing right now. And it turns out maybe God isn't an amazing person. And thus starts Castiel's ultimate daddy issues arc, which I love. Everybody talks about John Winchester and Dean, but no one talks about Castiel and God and how insane his daddy issues are. And all of the angels, actually, because all of the angels are his children. So the whole reason this is all happening is because all the angels are going through collective daddy issues. And some of them are dealing with it horribly, and some of them are dealing with it better than others, like Castiel. So even though I have my problems with it, it's going on. I'm on the edge of my seat, but it's going on the bottom. Okay, moving on. Sorry, that was like a long time for me to talk about one episode. The next episode is called 99 Problems. Sam and Dean are outnumbered by demons, but are saved at the last minute by Rob and his townspeople, who are aware of the apocalypse and have been training to fight and kill demons. The small town is very religious, and Sam and Dean meet Pastor Gideon, who introduces them to his daughter Leah, whom he claims is a prophet. Leah tells the townspeople they must obey her orders if they want a spot in heaven, but when she starts turning the townspeople against each other in the name of the Lord, the brothers realize they must kill her. And this episode is where I get really annoyed with Dean, and I kind of became my least favorite character of the season, because Dean goes through his wet cat phase where he's like, oh no, maybe I should just give up and give in to Michael, when he's been so untrustworthy of Sam this whole season, because he thinks he's gonna say yes to Lucifer because he was addicted to demon blood and he isn't giving him an ounce of of grace, like, at all. And then he's like, well, maybe I should just give up. Actually, could you, Dean? Anyway, that was so annoying. And, what else? This episode, I mean, the actual plot of the episode is kind of, it's so sinister, which is why I like it. Because this is a thing, not like the whole, the apocalypse, but this is a thing that happens in real life, where this is how a lot of, churches will work and manipulate you. They'll tell you that, you won't get a spot in heaven if you don't do these certain things, and if you just follow us and what we do, then you'll be fine. And yeah, it's just very manipulative. I like how realistic it is, how it's portrayed. I love the scene where Castiel comes back and is drunk. And to quote him, he went to a liquor store and he drank it. One of my favorite parts of the episode, because yeah, that's how he's dealing with his dad not caring about him or anything, really. He is drinking an entire liquor store, which is hilarious. So because it had a good joke, and the actual plot is kind of interesting, I'll put it up here in a solid episode. Okay, episode 18 is called Point of No Return. Dean begins to think the only way to stop Lucifer is to say yes to Michael, but the angels decide they don't need him anymore. Dean, Sam, and Castiel are horrified at the angels' new game plan and take on Zachariah to prevent an all-out war on Earth. Meanwhile, a familiar face returns, and that familiar face is Adam, the third brother that we all were really confused why he was there. Well, now we know why he's there. It's because he's now Michael's vessel. And, low-key, Adam, I kind of find him real. I loved him. And the scene where, Sam was like, I mean, you should trust us because we're blood brothers. And Adam's like, no, because our dad like literally was never there for me, so why would I trust you just because we have the same dad? And then Sam's like, well, you wouldn't like him if he was there all the time. I mean, he was horrible to us, which I see why Sam has that mindset. But Adam's like, dude, literally, he showed up like maybe once or twice in my life to take me to a baseball game. And then the rest of the time, my mom raised me. And she didn't really raise me that much because she was busy at being a nurse. So I raised myself. And he was like, actually, shut up. And then Sam was like, you're so right. And I was like, go off, King. I don't understand why this fandom hates Adam so much. He's kind of real for that. Anyway, the rest of the episode, I was like, oh my god, can Dean get over himself? Please. I'm so sick of him. Like, the whole time he's like, I don't know. I don't want to say yes to all my all. And like, I'm tired. And it's like, Dean. Oh my god. And then finally, Castiel's like already like, he's dealing with, you know, his whole thing with his dad who went out to get, you know, the entire creator of the universe went out to get milk and then never came back. And so Castiel is like so sick of this man poo-pooing all the time when Castiel's trying to deal with this whole thing. And then finally he absolutely mauls Dean. And I was so happy. I was like, I wish I was Castiel punching Dean's face right now. It was glorious. I miss when Castiel actually gave it back. You know, like in later seasons, I do love his character arc, but I do miss when he would fight back a little bit. But there was that. Adam gets Zachariah dies. That's the other significant thing I guess that happens is Zachariah dies, which is kind of sad because I low-key I might be the only one in the universe, but I low-key kind of liked Zachariah. I thought he was really funny and evil. So overall, point of number 2, return. Definitely, even though I'm annoyed at Dean. Also, I forgot to mention, Dean didn't end up taking Lucifer's vessel. He kills Zachariah instead. So even though I was annoyed at Dean like the entire episode, it still was, I was invested. So it goes in, I'm on the edge of my seat. But where in, what was Dark Side of the Moon about again? Hold on, let me refresh myself. Oh yeah, that's the heaven one. Okay. Point of no return, I think, goes above Dark Side of the Moon. Yes. Okay, it'll live there. Okay, episode 19, Hammer of the Gods. Sam and Dean are kidnapped by a group of gods, including Kali, Ganesh, and Baldur, and held hostage in a small hotel. The gods want to use Sam and Dean as bargaining chips to stop the apocalypse. But Gabriel shows up and warns them that if Lucifer finds them, he will kill them all. Unfortunately, one of the gods turns on the rest, and Lucifer appears. I love this episode because I am really into Norse mythology. There was a lot of Norse gods there. Gabriel was pretending to be Loki. Baldur was there. Odin was there. So I thought this whole, like, all the interpretations of the gods was really cool. I really liked the discussion of, like, well, pagan gods were there first. So why do you think that you could just take over the world? And Lucifer goes, I can take over the world because I want to. Which, okay, Lucifer, all right. Like, okay. Love that energy. Listen, Lucifer's a terrible guy. The actor playing Lucifer, kind of sick. Anyway, also Lucifer, his sass. I just think he's a well-written villain. That's the summary. He's a well-written villain. I loved Hermes specifically. I thought Hermes was a cool character. Also loved how he was a traitor because he would. What else about this episode? Oh, Gabriel's character arc. Kind of sad. I mean, I know he comes back, but he dies in this episode. Kind of sad. But I love seeing him stand up to Lucifer and be like, listen, I'm not on your side, I'm not on Michael's side, I'm on the human side, which was nice. It was nice to see his character arc come full circle. And you could clearly tell he hated standing up to Lucifer. He was like, I love you, I truly do, but I can't stand for you. So, yeah. Hammer of the Gods goes in I'm on the edge of my seat. I think it goes above these two for me because Dean was annoying me, okay? So that's why. That is why. Anyway, episode 20 is The Devil You Know. Okay. The demon Crowley tells Sam and Dean he can help them find the remaining horseman rings so they can trap Lucifer. The brothers are doubtful until Crowley leads them to Brady, the handler for pestilence and death. However, Brady refuses to give up their locations and sets pestilence after the Winchesters. I think I like pestilence a lot out of the 4 horsemen. I think the guy who played him was really good and really creepy. The way he described disease, like, ugh. I love Crowley in this episode. I was so happy to see him back. I love the start of Crowley and Dean's really funny dynamic where Crowley just likes to jerk him around and Dean never knows if he's being real or not. Crowley's a grade A troll. Anyway, I felt really bad for Sam in this episode because he found out, like, oh, this whole time Brady, who was my friend in college, introduced me to Jess because he was a demon, and he was the one that killed Jess. Wow. So, yeah, I totally got his anger in the moment. I kind of was cheering for him to kill him in the moment, but he proved himself. He restrained himself. He was like, no, we need the information. So, he did well. He did well in this episode. So, he goes up here. Or this episode goes up here. Because the plot is ramping. It's ramping up. I think it goes... yeah, it goes right here. Because again, these episodes are on thin ice because of Dean. But I like Hammer of the Gods a little more. Because of my personal interests. Alright, this is the second to last episode. We're almost there, guys. I promise. It's called 2 Minutes to Midnight. Crowley tells Bobby he will give him the location of death and the 4th horseman in exchange for his soul. Knowing Sam and Dean need the 4th ring to stop the apocalypse, Bobby reluctantly agrees. Sam and Dean confront Pestilence, but he unleashes a deadly virus upon them, so Castiel must intervene on their behalf. Dean has a meeting with Death to discuss Lucifer, and an unholy alliance is formed at a very high price for Dean. Whew, okay. Well, this episode I love a lot for very specific reasons. So, Crowley's back again. Any episode with Crowley's gonna be a good episode because I love him. He's jerking around everybody again, being a troll. I love this episode. Number 2, Pestilence. I really like Pestilence as a character. Number 3, Castiel. One word, Castiel. Good lord. He shows up, right? Okay, so in this episode, in a previous episode, I think it was Point of No Return, where he kind of sacrificed himself to help Sam and Dean get into the room where Adam was, and because of that he loses all of his powers. He calls Dean in this episode. He's like, yo, I'm in the hospital and I can't get to you because I have no powers. I would have to take a plane. And Dean's like, okay, Bobby will send you money. Dean shows up, or sorry, not Dean, Castiel shows up. Sam and Dean are in peril because Pestilence made them like super sick, so they can't move. Castiel shows up. He goes, I got here on a bus. Good for you, sweetie. Good for you. Love that. And then Pestilence is like, oh, I see there's no speck. There's not even a speck of angel in you right now. Castiel goes absolutely feral. Jumps at Pestilence. Cuts off 3 fingers, including the one that had the ring on it. And goes, just a speck. I miss scrappy Castiel could throw down, and without his powers, again, may I remind you, without his powers, he threw down and won. Oh my god, I love it. And was sassy about it as well. So for that alone, it's on the edge of my seat. Because I loved it. And it goes above. You know what? It's going at the top. Just for that. I love it. Okay. The last episode is called Swan Song, which is a very famous episode. I know that because I hear people reference it all the time. The entire season has been leading up to this showdown between good and evil. With the apocalypse looming, Sam and Dean realize they are out of options and make heartbreaking decisions that will change their lives forever. A beloved character is killed. And that character's Sam. At least for now. They never stay dead. So, obviously, I'm not going to be controversial here. Swan Song goes up here. I think it's going to go right here. Because Abandon All Hope made me cry a little more. And I'm not sure why. I think it was because the way they treated Joe and Ellen was so brutal. But, obviously, I loved seeing Sam take responsibility and really show that he's good inside. He overpowered Lucifer, yes, but then had to throw himself into hell, which sucks, and it sucks for Dean. That scene where Sam is like, you're gonna have to let me rot in hell because you can't open the cage, it's too risky. That was sad. What else about this episode? Oh, I forgot to mention, sorry, I have to mention this or else I'll hate myself after this video if I don't. Last episode, Death, really cool intro. That was another thing I loved about 2 Minutes to Midnight. Death's intro, amazing. Anyway, moving on. What else about the last episode did I love? Mostly just everything with Sam. Everything that had to do with Sam was just amazing. I loved all the scenes with Sam and Lucifer. Like, Lucifer was in his head and you'd see Sam in the mirror. Those were all really cool shots. I really liked Castiel in this episode too. Getting over, like, he kind of was being like, oh, I'm kind of useless and whatever, and Bobby was like, get it together, and he was like, okay. And he kind of took out he didn't like kill Michael, but he took him out, and I was like, good for him, learning how to make a Molotov cocktail. Like, love it. But then he immediately dies, and Dean has like no reaction, which is okay, dude, I thought he was your best friend. But then he comes back to life right after, so all is well, I guess. I love the narration Chuck does the entire episode, talking about the Impala, because the Impala is really like its own main character. And it means a lot to the characters in the show and a lot to the people watching. It just becomes like a second home. I love it. Chuck at the end is a teaser. Spoiler alert, Chuck later in the episode, because I've watched these seasons already. I've watched all the way up to season 11 the last time. Chuck is God, and I love the tease that it does at the end where Chuck disappears and whatever. So yeah, the whole like narration of the last episode's totally like teasing, hey, he's the creator, he is God, he's controlling everything. But yeah, overall, that's what I gotta say about the last episode. It's just really, really good, really, really solid. Made me cry because, bro, Dina and Sam. I can't believe Dina has to live with Sam. We'll live without Sam for that long. He goes back to Lisa at the end. A lot of people like Lisa. I'm kind of indifferent, so whatever. But I guess it makes sense for the story in that moment. But yeah, I think that's it. This is my ranking. Again, none in trash garbage. There genuinely wasn't any episodes where I was like, that was really bad. Unlike season 3, 2, and 1. I believe in all 3 of those seasons, there was at least one where I was like, oh my god. But season 4 or 5, no. They're just really solid seasons. There's only 3 here where I was like, just indifferent to. So, yeah, hopefully season 6 I might watch a bit quicker. We'll see how it goes. But either way, I will be back to rank those episodes. And yeah, I'll see you later. Have a good day, guys.